muted, just so that, yeah, we don't get that kind of background noise of other people. So we're going to start in a seated shape today. I'm just going to turn off my... so yeah, just finding a place, and you can start lying down as well. If just for the meditation part, you can lie down, and when we start moving, you can come to sit if seating isn't very comfortable for you. But if you'd like to start in a seated position, then I recommend having something under the sit bones. So just so your sit bones are a bit higher than the knees, just helps to feel a little bit more comfortable in that shape. And you can sit however you want. You don't have to be sitting like me. You can use cushions or be kneeling, however feels most comfortable for you. And so welcome anyone that's joined that I can't see. Yeah, welcome everyone to this morning's class. So this morning's class the theme is stepping into spring. And yeah, I just wanted to put together this class and kind of offer this because I feel that when we move into different seasons, sometimes it's quite a good time to set some new intentions, or maybe set an intention for kind of how you want to approach that season, or maybe something you want to do, or just how you want to be in that change. And yeah, that change as well can kind of maybe create some what's the word, like not so much disharmony, but you know, there's just a shift in what's going on in our routines and things. So just being able to ground into that and actually set purposeful intentions can sometimes help us move through these shifts. So the two things I wanted to introduce before we start is our first one is our Lotus Mudra. So the Lotus Mudra is taking the pinky fingers together and the thumb together and then spreading the hands. So I'll show that a bit closer. So it's this kind of shape. So you're opening up those hands into that lotus flower shape. And I fell into this for this class because the lotus flower grows from the mud, so underneath water in kind of dark mud, and then grows out into this beautiful kind of flower that blossoms out into the sun. So I thought it was quite, yeah, kind of represented maybe moving into spring or coming from a darker kind of place, or just maybe somewhere that you're not so sure of, and then blooming into this flower. So we'll speak to that during our meditation. And then the second thing is moving into spring in Ayurvedic tradition. So the traditional Indian medicinal practice, it's kapha time. So kapha is the combination of water and earth. So the movements today are going to be very grounding, but also finding that fluidity in our movement. So really, yeah, seeing if we can feel into the earth and the water time that we're going through in the Ayurvedic tradition. Awesome. So we'll just start in a seated shape, and we'll just first take a bit of time to ground before we take our Lotus Mudra and start the meditation. So if you'd like to, you can close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. Keep them open. If not, just have a soft gaze. And just begin to allow yourself to arrive wherever you are, wherever you found yourself this morning. And you can have a little shuffle of the body. Just be comfortable wherever you're seated, or maybe if you're lying down, comfortable in that shape. And just begin to feel into where your body is meeting the earth. Allowing those points of contact to be grounding and your stability. Allow yourself to really welcome yourself where you are. Welcome yourself to the practice this morning, knowing you're fully welcome here, however you arrived. Welcoming the physical body where you're seated, those sensations of where you're touching the earth, any sensations in the body. And welcoming your mental body, the mind. And maybe having a little check-in. How is your mind this morning? Has it been quite busy, lots of thoughts going on, or maybe it's a little bit more calm and clear? Just noticing that. No need for judgment or to change it. We're just noticing. And that emotional body, how are you feeling this morning? Just having a little check-in with yourself. How are you feeling? Whatever emotions are present, again, letting them be as they are, knowing they are all fully welcome here in the space. And how's your energy this morning? You woken up with lots of energy, maybe a spring in your step, maybe a little bit less energy, a little bit tired. And as we move through the practice this morning, just honoring however you're feeling. So always feeling free to take any rests whenever you need, modify movements. I always give different ways to do movements, but any modifications you want to make, always feeling free to take those. Making sure you're honoring how you're feeling in your body today, knowing that will be different every single time you get on your mat or take your yoga practice, and that's absolutely fine. And then taking some conscious inhales and exhales here. And if you are seated, just making sure that you're seated in that shape where you're allowing space for the breath to move in the belly, to move those lungs. Maybe helpful if you've come to my classes before to feel that grounding down, but that also that energy moving up from the earth, up through the body, suspending you upwards. So there's this balance between the downward and the upward energy, creating that yielding feeling, the softness in the body. So we're not propping or pulling ourselves upwards or floating off the earth, but we're also not slumped down or coming too down to the earth. We're finding that balance in between, and that can help to create some spaciousness in the body for those breaths. And then in your inhales, expand the belly and the lungs, let the belly be soft. And with those exhales, body softens inwards, hugs inwards. And if you'd like, you can take some inhales and sighing the exhales out, maybe making some sound. Just letting anything go that needs to leave for this practice. And letting yourself arrive. And when you're ready, we'll take our Lotus Flower Mudra in front of us. So those pinky fingers and the thumbs come together, maybe the bottom of the palms, and those other fingers can spread out, creating that lotus flower shape with the hands. And as we take this mudra, let's invite that awareness to the lotus flower growing from that mud, from the earth, grounding into the earth, and then how it expands and blooms up towards the sky and it opens out to this beautiful flower to the sun. And as we step into spring, you can use this to feel into an intention or how we might like to bloom into this season. And just because we're stepping into spring and then on to summer, it doesn't mean that we need to be go, go, go and have all this motivation and energy and achieve lots of things. But maybe there's just one thing you'd like to do during this time, or one intention you'd like to set. And it could be as simple as just being out in nature each day, a 10-minute walk in the sun, or taking a bit of time to notice nature around you. Maybe it's, I want to commit to my yoga practice every day for at least 20 minutes, half an hour. Maybe it's something else you would like to achieve or do during this time. Maybe it's just one thing that you've been building up to for a while. You've been growing from that darkness, that mud, and now you're ready to let that bloom. Maybe that's a really big thing. Whatever it is that's arriving for you, no pressure. It doesn't have to be this big thing. It doesn't have to be anything. It can just be a really small intention, and maybe even just a word. I want to bring in joy into this time, or love, or peace. Just taking a few moments to let that intention arrive. Maybe letting that intention come from the heart. And then with that intention, is there something you'd like to bring into the practice this morning for the next hour or so as we move on our mats? Maybe that's the same as what you're bringing to the next season, or maybe it's just a word again of just, I want to be present, or move with joy, honor my body, feel peaceful, feel calm, whatever it is. I'm going to take a little moving meditation with the breath and the arms now. Just letting that mudra go. Letting the arms come down to the side. You can open up the eyes if you'd like. You can follow along. So when you're ready, breathe in the arms up to that shoulder height. And then breathe in the arms together, and you can take that lotus flower mudra as you bring the arms towards the chest. And then breathe in the arms up towards the sky, reaching out, growing the limbs, breathing all the way back down to the earth. And we'll take that a few more times, maybe 5 or 6 times. Breathing the arms up towards the chest, maybe taking that mudra. Breathing up to the sky, and then all the way down. And as you move through these movements, let your breath be your guide. So as you inhale, there's a movement. As you exhale, there's another. And so instead of moving and then breathing, we're letting the breath move us. Maybe you're noticing there's a phase of the breath which supports certain movements, or maybe just feels right to breathe however you're breathing. Maybe as you move, feeling into that, setting that intention from the earth, and then you're blooming it up towards the sky, opening the heart. And the next time you breathe your arms up towards the sky, taking your time to get there, let the left hand drop down to the side, the right hand follows, and take that little twist through the spine. Let this be quite soft. Not trying to force our body anywhere, just letting a little twist come through that upper back, the thoracic spine. Taking a couple of breaths here. And then breathing the arms up to the sky again, reaching up all the way down. And let's take that on the other side. Taking your time to get there, moving with your breath as you inhale and exhale. I might be moving faster or slower than you, that's okay. And then dropping the other hand down, right hand comes down, left hand comes down. Twisting over to the other side. Breathing into this shape, noticing however the body feels. And breathing the arms all the way up, reaching up to the sky, and breathing them down. And let's take some more fluid movements here now. So that earth and water element. So bringing a hand down to the side, letting the other arm reach up and over. Maybe the body kind of rotates down to the earth and then maybe up towards the sky. Feeling into that opening of the lungs on the side, the rib cage. And then that top arm can sweep across the body and plant down on the other side, and the other arm can come up. And just move however you feel like moving here. See if you can make the movements quite fluid, moving from one side to the other. Maybe that's a bit faster, moving one way and the other. Maybe you spend a bit more time on one side. Transitioning in different ways, just exploring ways of moving here. You can reach out to a side and then rotate the body up, reaching to the side, rotating down towards the earth. Noticing those rotational movements of the ribs, of the lungs. And taking another 5 or so breaths in these shapes. And then on the next breath or so, calming back, finding a way back to center and stillness, just for a couple of breaths. Maybe just placing the hands down to the side on the body. And just taking a few moments here to just feel how you feel. Also, let's transition to palms and knees. So taking your time, rolling over and finding a way down onto your mat. Palms and knees on the earth, just removing anything that's on the mat. And as always, as we come to this shape, you can have a blanket onto the knees. I've got quite a hard floor here, so I always like to have a blanket onto my knees. And you can always feel free to come down to the elbows at any time if this isn't comfortable on the wrists, or you can also come to a pillow or a cushion or whatever you have in your house. So let's just take a few moments here as you come to that palms and knees shape. So again, feel into that earth, that grounding energy of the earth. And then at the same time, feeling that suspension upwards. So we're not collapsing down to the earth, and we're not pushing or propping too much. We're finding that balance. Can you feel that sense of balance and stability? But as well, that opportunity or that sense that you can move from here. Let's start with taking some of our cat-cow. So on your next breath, breathing the back of the body up towards the sky, head and tailbone rolling down. And extending the spine, breathing the head and tailbone to the front and the back of the mat. Again, take this with your own breath. Let the breath be your guide. So as you inhale, you're taking one movement. As the exhale comes through, taking another. And letting those pauses in between the breath be as they are as well, that sacred silence between our breaths. Maybe having a play with changing up the cycle. So if you're exhaling one way and inhaling the other, maybe explore changing that. And how does it feel to breathe in the other way? And then as you come into that cat shape and arch up, bringing the weight towards the knees, and then as you come through that cow, transferring the weight to the hands, just starting to bring in some more movement, some more fluidity with these movements. How fluid can you make the movements, but keeping that sense of grounding here as well, so we're not floating away. Moving as fast or as slow as feels good for you. Feeling that weight transfer from the hands, the knees, knees to the hands, transferring of energy through the body. And then begin to take any movement in these shapes that feel good. So maybe it's that rotation through the sides of the ribs, rotating through the spine, circling the pelvis. Staying with your breath as you move here. And taking that both ways. Maybe transferring the weight from one hand to the other, one knee to the other, circling the body. The toes can be tucked or untucked here. You might like to tuck the toes and just bring in a bit of awareness into the soles of the feet as you move here. Moving in any way which feels satisfying for you. And coming back to that intention you set and that check-in with the body. How can you honor how you're feeling this morning? How can you honor that intention that you set for the practice? And taking 5 or so more breaths with these movements. And then the next breath or so, bringing those sit bones towards the heels, untucking the toes, they're tucked, and coming back into that child's pose shape. So the knees can be out towards the side of the mat. They can be more together, allowing the body to come down to the earth. And as always, bringing any support you need under the body or resting down with the forehead to the earth, whatever feels best for you. And if this isn't a great shape for you as well, you can also just stay up on the elbows, finding that place where you can settle down to the earth. And if the forehead is down on the earth, you can maybe have a roll the forehead side to side and let that move the rest of the spine, moving through the pelvis. And just take a few moments to settle here in your child's pose and feel into the breath in the back of the body. And you let the lungs, the rib cage move through the back of the body in this shape. And you feel very subtle movements of the shoulder blades as you inhale, moving slightly away from each other, sliding over those ribs. And then as you exhale, coming slightly together. And take 3 more really conscious breaths in your child's pose. Allowing this time to be grounding. Planting your seeds of intention of what's to come in the next season. And if your arms are out long, walking the hands towards the body, or just allowing the spine to come up gradually, letting the head and the chin lift up last. And we'll come to a kneeling shape here. So again, you can have something underneath the knees. And if this isn't a comfortable place for you, you can also just start upwards because we're going to come into this shape as well. As we come into this shape, kneeling towards the earth, imagining you're planting those seeds of intention or whatever you want to grow for the next couple of months, or maybe it's longer or a shorter amount of time. And then when you're ready with your breath, breathing the arms up, breathing the body up to the sky. Expanding, blooming out towards the sky, and then breathing back down to the earth. Curling inwards as you come to the earth, you'd like flexing that spine and then breathing and extending upwards. And so feeling into, as you move here, grounding down, allowing that earth energy to help you come up and bloom up towards the sky. Letting your movement be fluid and free. Maybe taking it a bit faster, a bit slower, whatever feels most comfortable for you. And then have a play with bringing the arms across the body and up. And then across the body, and as you come back down, letting the arms come up behind you, spreading your wings. Breathing the arms across the body, up to the sky. And have a play with also taking those arms one way, so one arm comes across the other, and then the other way, so the other arm is behind. And let this be quite a free movement, no rules here. Going a bit faster maybe, or a bit slower. And take this movement maybe 1 or 2 more times. And then the next time you come up, we'll just take one arm across now, so letting one arm lead. And then you can let the pelvis and the body kind of rotate around to that arm, and then let that arm lift all the way up to the sky. Take the other hand down towards the hip, and then we'll take a little rotation to the side, little side bend here. Breathing into this opening of that lung, that rib cage, which is opening out. And take 2 more breaths here. And then breathing the body back up towards the sky. Then that arm rotates to the side, the pelvis, head follows round. Calming back down. Just taking a moment here. And let's take that on the other side. So the other arm comes up, looking towards that hand, the pelvis can turn with the arm up towards the sky. Taking that other hand to the hip. And then taking that side bend here. Breathing into the other side of the body, other side of the lung. And breathing that hand up to the sky and then rotating it across the body where it came from, all the way down. Cool, and then we're going to take that movement into a low lunge here. So just grounding down where you are. And then when you're ready, breathing the body up and stepping 1 foot forward, coming into that low lunge shape. Breathing the arms up towards the sky. And let's take some fluid movement here. So breathing the arms down, and as you breathe down, bring the body forward so you're coming in to that hip a little bit, and then breathing the arms up. And you can almost have a little straighten of that leg, or coming into a little bit straighter leg as you come up. And then breathing down, bending into that front leg. Breathing back up. Again, take this with your breath. Going as fast or as slow as you like. Maybe sighing out as you breathe the arms down, letting them flow down. Maybe you'd like to make the movement more controlled. And take this one more time, breathing the arms down. And then breathing them up. And take 2 breaths here. The head can be looking up to the sky or straight out in front. And then breathing those arms all the way down, framing that front foot, and then stepping back, coming back into that kneeling shape. Maybe coming onto the elbows just for a few breaths, and have a little rock out of the pelvis. or shake out of the body, moving anywhere you'd like to move. Maybe you want to find a little bit of stillness for a few breaths. And then let's take that on the other side, so coming back into that kneeling shape, remembering what leg you brought forward. Doesn't matter if you do the same one twice though. Breathing down to the earth, and then as you rise up, stepping another foot forward, coming up into that low lunge on the other side. And then let's take that fluid movement again. So breathing those arms down, bending the knee, and then maybe coming up, maybe bringing that leg towards straight. But that knee will still be bent slightly, probably, if you're not flexible like me. That's absolutely fine. And feeling into this fluidity of the movements, kapha, earth and water. And then let this be your last movement here. Breathing the arms up. Can you feel into that stability of the legs through the feet, the lower leg? Can you let that breathe all the way up into the hands? Again, finding that balance between the earth and the sky. And on the next breath, breathing the hands all the way down, framing that front foot, stepping back into your kneeling shape. And then again, let's just take any movements you like to make. The elbows on the floor. Maybe you just want to come into a child's pose for a few breaths. Taking any movements. And we're going to come towards standing now. So I'm going to cue a downward dog, but if you don't want to take downward dog today, or that shape doesn't serve you, you can stay in this shape for a few breaths before we come up to stand. If you'd like to take your downward dog, then coming back into that palms and knees shape, taking your time to get there, and tucking those toes. And again, just transferring that weight back and forward a few times. Feeling the weight coming towards the hands and then towards the feet. And then the next time you come towards the feet, just have a little lift of the knees and then let them come down. So you're bringing the knees up as you come back and then letting them come down as you come forward. And after you've done that 4 or 5 times, the next time, those knees right up, the tailbone, the pelvis, rising up and back, coming into your first downward dog. And as you arrive, take any movement you like to make, maybe suspending one heel up and then bringing it down, suspending the other heel, bringing it down. Maybe those knees come through center, rotating through the pelvis. So yeah, be stability in the hands, so the hands pushing the earth away, finding stability in those shoulders. Elongating the spine up towards the sky. And then find a few breaths of stillness here if you'd like, or you can keep moving in your downward dog. And then let's walk the feet towards the hands at the front of the mat, coming into that forward fold. And as you come into your forward fold, you can let those knees bend as much as you need. And options here are to keep the hands down towards the earth, or you can bring the elbows up to the knees here as well, or even the hands up to the knees if that's more comfortable for you. And let that spine elongate towards the earth, let the head be soft, maybe having a nod, or a shake of the neck of the head. Take a rock side to side, let your movements be fluid this morning. Take 2 more breaths here. And then when you're ready, breathing the body all the way up, slowly unraveling the spine. Looming up towards the earth, that chin and the head are the last to move. Coming into your Tadasana. And as you come into your Tadasana, just finding that place where your feet feel stable, maybe that hip width distance apart. Again, feeling into that grounding of the feet and noticing how the feet are weighted on the floor. Maybe there's weight more on one foot than the other. You can take a little rock side to side through the feet, maybe circling your weight, just finding a place of balance as you come to more stillness. Notice if the knees are locked straight, can you find a soft knee and a straight leg? Just a little bit of softness through the knees. Notice if you're holding your belly in, can you let your belly be soft? Can you let the shoulders be relaxed down towards the earth? So we're going to take our moving meditation in our standing shape now and add on some different movements as well. So you can just take this in any variation you'd like. So maybe just staying with the first variation as we move, or maybe you want to add on as we go. So when you're ready, taking those movements, look at the start of the class. So breathing the arms up to the side, towards the chest, maybe finding that lotus flower shape. Breathing the arms up to the sky and then all the way down. So take that 2 or 3 times. Breathing the arms to the side, to the chest, maybe finding Lotus Flower Mudra. Breathing up to the sky and then bringing the arms back down. Move with your breath as fast or as slow as feels right for you. Let's add on to this movement now. So breathing the arms up towards the chest. Breathing up to the sky. And then as you bring your arms down, coming all the way down into that forward fold shape. Breathing into halfway lift, the crown of the head towards the front of the mat. Tailbone towards the back. And the next breath, breathing all the way down. And then coming down to breathe all the way back up. And then let those hands come back down again. So that's an add-on, another variation. So take that a few times if it feels right for you. As you breathe the arms up, you come all the way down to that forward fold. Breathe into that halfway lift shape. Breathing the body down to the earth to come all the way up. And just take that a few times with your own breath before we add on again. I think someone needs to mute themselves. You just make sure you're on mute so that you're not causing that interference for others. Cool, let's add on here. I'm just gonna mute whoever's not muted, sorry. Cool. So keep taking that movement and then we'll add on here. So taking those movements again, breathing the arms up towards the chest into that lotus flower shape. Breathing up to the sky and all the way down. Taking that halfway lift. Breathing down. And then from here, if you'd like, bringing your foot back, breathing the foot back towards the earth. And then breathing down towards the earth, maybe bending that back knee slightly. So then bring you all the way up. Breathing the body up into that low lunge shape. And you can take a breath here and maybe even take that Lotus Flower Mudra in this shape. And then when you're ready, breathing the body down, bending that back knee, and then stepping forward. Coming back to where you started. So that's another variation you can take. So as you move here, breathing the arms to the side, to the chest and up, all the way down. Halfway lift. And then breathing that other foot back. Settling down towards the earth first, maybe even bending that back knee and then letting that support of the earth raise you, breathe you all the way up, blooming up to the sky. You can take that mudra as well if you'd like in your high lunge. And then breathing towards the earth, bending that back knee and springing forward into your standing shape. So take whatever variation feels best for you. Moving with your breath. Maybe you're moving quite a lot slower than me, maybe faster. And another option here is as you come into that high lunge, maybe taking a little balance as you spring forward. You can bring that leg forward, maybe even coming into a little tree shape. Whatever kind of balance you want to take, and then letting the body come all the way down, grounding back down. So taking this a few more times on each side. Let yourself explore these movements, exploring the balance, exploring your high lunge shape, maybe having a play with that back foot. Maybe it can be out a bit more for that stability. Let your movements be fluid and playful. And come back to that intention that you set. So how did you want to approach your practice, and can you bring that into these variations? Maybe it's taking it slower and not doing so much balance, or maybe you wanted to bring some more energy or joy or exploration into your practice. Let's take 1 or 2 more rounds as we breathe here. Remember, there's no right or wrong, so if you're kind of still working out the pattern or not quite sure where we're moving, just see if you can move however it feels good for you. Just have a play, have an explore. You don't have to be following exactly what I'm doing. Let this be your last round of movement, wherever you are. Maybe starting your last round. And then when you're ready, taking your time to get there. As you come back to stand, you might want to take that Lotus Mudra again. Just have the hands to the side. And just notice how the body feels. You can maybe just have a little shake out of the body, letting all those movements go, shaking the legs, shaking the arms. Maybe shaking out one leg, the side, shaking out the other. Sighing whatever you need to sigh out. And find a little bit of stillness. Again, maybe taking that mudra, or the hands can be down. And can you just breathe here and be with any sensations that are in the body? Anything that's happening in the mind or emotionally. Saying that be however it is. As we take a few moments here to be still and quiet, just a little reminder from me to you that as we do come into spring and summer, again, we don't have to be go, go, go all the time. We don't have to be super motivated every day and be doing all the things. Because I know I definitely have a tendency to do that when it comes into the longer days and things. Make sure you still give yourself that time to rest and replenish. Still just as important as it is in that autumn and winter as well. And then your next breath, breathing those arms all the way up to the sky. And then breathing all the way down into that forward fold. And again, taking those options and variations I gave before, letting your swing out of the body. And then planting those hands down to the side of the feet, stepping one foot back, stepping the other. And coming into that downward facing dog if you'd like to go there, or you can come straight down onto the elbows or a child's pose. And taking any fluid movement here in your downward dog you like to make. And tailbone, pelvis reaching up towards the sky. And then bringing those knees down to the earth gently. And we'll come back into a child's pose. So again, taking those variations, knees out to the side or together, letting the body settle down. The arms can be out towards the front, or they can be around you as well, coming into that different variation of child's pose. And giving yourself a bit of time to settle the body, come back down to the earth, ground back down. So with our fluidity and our fluid movements as we come up into towards the sun or the sky, maybe have an explorer play. We also want to come back down and be grounded again, down to the earth, keeping that sense of stability, a sense of balance in the body. And if your arms are out long, if you'd like, you can walk those hands to one side of the mat. Just feel that little sensation along one side of the body. Opening of one side of the rib cage, one side of the lungs, condensing of the other side. Breathing back to center, breathing the hands to the other side. Staying with that breath. And breathing the hands back to center if they're out to the side. And just take another 2 or 3 breath cycles here. Letting your breath be soft. We're not straining to create any breath here, just letting it be natural. And then we'll come up, breathing the body up, allowing that spine to uncurl up towards the sky. And bringing those feet out to the side, and we'll come to lie on our backs here. So some options, if you want to just come into your rest now and you want to stay on your front body or your side body, then you can take that, absolutely. Otherwise, we'll just do a little bit of movement on our back before we come to our rest, and always recommend bringing any blankets underneath you if you'd like. Bring them there now, so you're kind of ready for your rest. Just giving yourself a little bit of time to set up. And then when you're ready, you can roll down to the side and then come on to the back body. Taking your time to get there. And as you come into your back, let those knees be up towards the sky, if this is where you are. The feet on the earth, and those feet can walk out to the sides of the mat. Let them walk out a little bit further than the arm as well, so not too close. And let's take a little wash rag here, so knocking the knees to the side, head rolls to the other side. And this movement doesn't have to be really big, the knees don't have to come down to the floor. So let that be really easeful. Notice how you're creating length on one side of the body as the knees knock to the other side. Feel then sensation of your pelvis as it rolls on the floor. Seesawing the pelvis one side and the other. Let the head roll be really easeful and gentle. And then taking any final movements you'd like to take here. So you might want to rest down on one side of your wash rag and feel that little twist along the spine. And maybe take it on the other side after a few breaths. Maybe you want to bring the knees in towards the chest, have a little rotate of that femur bone and the hip socket. Maybe coming into a little happy baby, holding the soles of the feet. But whatever you're doing, let it be fluid, let it be moving. Bending into knees, straightening knees, rolling, rotating. Anything, any movements you want to take before we come into our final Shavasana. And then when you're ready, you can stay with some movement for a little bit longer if you'd like, or if you're ready for that rest, setting yourself up into your resting shape. So using any props you have around you, maybe you've got some cushions or pillows or bolster, blankets, having something maybe under the knees, letting that lower back be really comfortable wherever you are. Maybe you're lying on your side, or maybe you want to lie on your front body this morning. That feels really good. Just finding whatever is going to be most comfortable for you. And I always say in our Shavasana, imagine you're setting yourself up like you would a friend. So taking this time to really honor yourself, treat yourself as you would a friend. How can you show yourself that care and attention? Feeling free to make any shuffles or adjustments during your rest. So as you come into your resting shape, taking some breaths here and maybe letting the exhale extend longer than the inhale. If it's helpful for you, you can maybe even count. So maybe 4 in and 6 out. Maybe 4 in and 5 out. Or just having that sense that the exhale is being elongated, extended. And placing your awareness on your heart space here. If it's helpful, you can bring a hand to that space, the center of your chest, or just out to the left side a little bit. Maybe you can even feel your heartbeat as you place your hand here. You can have a little rub of this place if your hand's there. And just settle your awareness onto your heart. And as you breathe, can you imagine breathing from the space? So inhaling into the heart space, exhaling from the heart. It doesn't matter if this is really hard or you're not sure. Just having that sense of breathing from this place as much as you can. Maybe inviting back that intention you set at the start of the practice, maybe the one for the next season, or maybe it's the one for what you had for this practice, or maybe both. Letting that settle into your heart. And letting those feelings resonate in the heart and resonate through the rest of the body. Maybe you had a word today of peace or joy, love, gratitude, maybe something completely else, completely different. Maybe you want to seal that intention into your heart. Let that expand down the arms, to the hands, down the rib cage, the lungs, down through the belly, down the legs to the feet, up to the neck and the head. Let whatever those feelings or intentions or anything that you want to resonate this morning, just be there in your whole being. Let each cell feel those intentions or those feelings that you wanted to feel, you want to move into this new season with. And if you're unsure, you can just keep that awareness on the heart and breathe into this space. And just breathe into where you can feel that pressure of the hand even. And just take a few more minutes here in silence before we close the practice this morning. And so you're welcome to stay here as long as you'd like to, and feel free to just turn off the call. Or if you'd like to close together this morning, and allowing some deeper inhales and exhales. And just bringing your awareness back to wherever you are, to the physical sensations of your body down on the mat. And taking any little movements of the fingers and the toes, maybe rotating through the wrists and the ankles. Gently reawakening yourself into the day. And taking some bigger movements, having a little stretch out. Bringing one knee up, maybe the other, if the legs are out long. And then the next breath or so, rolling over to one side. And as you arrive onto your side body, taking your time. Again, just one more time revisiting those intentions you set maybe especially that one, to move it into the rest of the season or the rest of the year, whatever it was. Bringing that back into your heart as you hug inwards, curl inwards on your side. Gently bring yourself up to a comfortable seat if you'd like to end there. Maybe having the eyes closed or having a soft gaze. As you arrive, breathing those arms all the way up to the sky, gathering that energy for the rest of the day, the year, whatever it may be. Coming down, maybe taking that Lotus Mudra one more time here. Arahamai, Arahatu, love and compassion received, love and compassion given. Thank you everyone for joining this morning.